What's up, guys? Welcome to the live. It is Thursday night. I don't even know what day it is because I've been sick for the past week. It's Thursday night. I never go live unless I'm listing, but I'm really excited for the live tonight. We're going to give it a couple of minutes just to let people kind of come in. And actually, I should take a picture of us and post it on my Instagram and just say, like, hey, we're live. Come hang out. So welcome in, everybody. I hope you're doing great. I'm here with Mike. I always point the wrong way. So AKA Dumpster Night on Instagram. You can find him on Instagram. One word, Dumpster Night. Here, give me a little like something. There we go. All right, here we go. Live with Dumpster Night. I love that name. We're going to talk about that tonight. And we're just going to have some fun. So let me get this posted on my story real quick. Cool. And here we go. So all right. Well, Mike, why don't you introduce yourself? I'll say hi to everybody in the chat in a minute once we get started, and you can just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and whatever you want to say to introduce, and then we'll go from there. And we're gonna have fun tonight. We're gonna talk about all things reselling, anything you guys can imagine. We're both gonna just have an open discussion. So,
yeah. All right. Well, like you said, I'm Mike. I am Dumpster Night on Instagram. Actually, before this, I was trying to figure out how long I've actually been doing it because the timeline's kind of messy. But I think it's about 7 years now, just like between from where I started and right now. This is my only job besides being a stay-at-home dad, which I do both full-time, I guess. But my wife works. I stay home, keep house, take care of kids, all that good stuff.
That's awesome. So your wife works, you said?
Yep.
So what does she do?
She is a speech pathologist. So she works in a school with kids with dyslexia and other like learning disabilities, which is pretty amazing because I wouldn't know the first thing about it.
Awesome. Cool. Well, very cool. And so you're a stay-at-home dad, full-time reseller.
Yeah, I never know when to call myself or how to qualify it as a full-time reseller, because I mean it doesn't feel like a full-time job, yeah. Because of how the job is, like I make my own schedule, my own time, but I mean there is some time when work bleeds over into family time or not work time, which is a whole other thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can totally relate to that. So all right. Well, before we get started with too many questions, if you are in the chat, if you're listening, if you're watching, it says there's 31 people here right now, but sometimes that is laggy. So let me know in the chat. Let Mike know. Say hi. Say something in the chat so we know. Also, let me know if we're both clear, if the microphones and the cameras are clear, if everything's good there. Before we get too far into it, just give me a thumbs up or something in the chat. Let me know that we are good to go. And so that way I don't have to check the, or not the latency, but that's like an old gamer term. Why did I say that? But man, I used to play StarCraft, and like if the game was laggy, you'd have to like go to the network and set it for extra high latency. So that's what I'm so used to with stuff lagging. So but I'm saying all good. You can hear me. Awesome. Thank you guys for being here. And so yeah, I'm really excited to talk to Mike because we're both like really passionate resellers. And I see if you guys aren't following Mike, he's got a bunch of great content on a lot of great categories. I don't know if you want to talk about, I don't want to like talk for you. So like categories that you like to sell in is like, I know a lot of video games, kids toys, things like that. So you want to tell us?
So yeah, I got into this and started selling just like of course video games. If I could pick one thing to sell forever, it'd be video games because it's just so easy. But I mean, I am a child of the 90s. Like I wasn't raised on TV, but I was very involved in TV. So I mean, the whole like pop culture and like nostalgia thing is huge for me. And it comes in handy because I sure know a lot about random stupid toys at the thrift store. And I have people like ask me a lot, like, what is this thing? I'm like, I know exactly what that is. And it would be embarrassing if it wasn't helpful. it's kind of like the like, I don't know, He-Man collectors or those kind of people that are like really intense about their like hobby.
Yeah.
And it's just really impressive. Whenever I don't know what like a toy is or what an accessory is, and someone's like, I know exactly which action figure this goes to, I'm like, man, that's just it's just impressive.
Yeah. It's so funny because like I couldn't tell you like the names of the He-Man characters, but then if you went to like SpongeBob or Rocko's Modern Life or something, like I could tell you every character, everything about it, and that's something we'll talk about a little bit later too, about recognizing those things. But yeah, it's pretty crazy how like one of the things that got me started was like Hot Wheels cars with reselling. Is like one of my first big purchases was I went to a garage sale and the lady had like, her husband passed away and had like 1,000 Hot Wheels cars.
Jeez.
And I bought like 2 bins of Hot Wheels cars, unknown of what they were, for like $40 for all of them. And I just started posting them. And I found one Hot Wheels car that sold for like $50. And I was like, dang, this is crazy. And so that's one of the things that really first got me into reselling. And I mean, I played with Hot Wheels cars when I was, that was my childhood, having all the tracks and, the commercials where it was like volcano blowout and you see like the car, like, so those were the best. Real
Did
quick.
You have the rolling suitcase with the storage?
Yes, absolutely.
I remember that. The thing was awesome.
Yeah, there's a couple of like nostalgia things from my childhood that I like really want to find in the wild. And one of them would be that, and then one of them would be like the Super Soaker. I think it's the 5,000, the one with the backpack on it that you wear. Like, dude, that's a bucket list item for me, and they sell for like $600. So
there, just to think that, like, I had a couple Super Soakers growing up, but they were never like the backpack one. But just who would have thought that 20 some years later, be like, oh, that was really valuable.
Yeah, for sure, it's crazy. Just want to say hi to everybody in the chat again. If you're here, appreciate you guys hanging out, stopping by. If you're getting work done or you're listening or you're cleaning shoes or whatever you're doing, hopefully we can keep you entertained with this conversation. Or maybe you're watching it back later and you just wanted to see what all what did I say originally? The controversy is about. Well, you're gonna have to listen in. You're gonna have to listen in and see what all that is a little bit later. But thank you guys for stopping by. Jennifer Frederick said my 2 favorite reselling Instagram pages. So thank you so much. That means a lot.
Yeah,
and it's really cool. And then my friend Christopher, I buy chit, said just showing some support. So thanks, Christopher. I appreciate it. I did tell Mike any super chats I get tonight, I will split with him. And so he will be getting some of the proceeds of that super chat. So I really appreciate it. And Erica, Random Garage, is here. Thank you so much. Said, love seeing 2 of you collaborating. So appreciate that. And yeah, so all right, let's just start off with like a couple of the basic things. I want to ask you some questions. If you guys have questions for Mike in the chat or questions for me, feel free to throw them up in the chat and we'll try to answer them as best as we can. I've got some great questions for Mike and just to do some deep diving into reselling. And this is weird for me because I'm so used to just listing. But that's why I do the podcast with Josh and Joey, because I could talk about reselling for hours. And so I'm excited to hang out with you. So you said that you've been reselling for like 7 years. And
yep.
So let's kind of go back there a little bit. Is that kind of where Dumpster Night came from, where you were dumpster diving originally? And when I first got into reselling, I started, I actually used to dumpster dive like years ago before I even found out about reselling, just because it was fun. Like I used to work at a Cold Stone ice cream shop, and right next door was a GameStop. And they would always tell me when they're throwing away like the promotional cardboard cutouts and stuff. So I'd go in the dumpsters and take the Super Mario Sunshine cardboard cutouts and all sorts of stuff.
Where are they? Where are they now?
I know. Don't ask, because I wasn't a reseller back then, but I did in my room. Like if I could show you my room, like circa 2007, 2008, dude, I had Master Chief on my wall. I had Super Mario Sunshine. I had like all these different things that, they were just throwing out. And it's just crazy. So
funny you say something about that. like your room from 2008, because I think about that time period too. And I had, you know, the shirts from like the movies at that time, like 300, what's it, Dark Knight, Fight Club, stuff like that. I'm like, where do those shirts go, man?
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So tell us about the dumpster diving.
Yeah. So I watched this documentary called Dive, and it was about dumpster diving. I was in college. It had to be like 2012, 2013, because like my son wasn't born yet. He was born in 2014. So I kind of like date things that way because it's just way easier. So the documentary Dive is about this guy that like starts a dumpster dive at like Trader Joe's and like a bunch of other places that are throwing out all this food. And back, 10 years ago plus, it was worse because no one talked about it. And now it's gotten a lot of, attention, and things have changed a little bit. So not as much gets wasted. But this guy like would go out every night and find like so much food that was like perfectly fine. And they just had to throw it away because they either couldn't get through the like red tape of donating the food, or it was past the like best by date and they just had to chuck everything. So I was like, I want to try that. That'd be super cool. And I don't think I did it for like a while.
For food specifically?
Yeah. Because I was like, let's just see what I can find. So I did. Like there was an Aldi right by my house, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go one night. And like I found some stuff, and it was, I would go out when it's like cold because I was just too nervous to do anything else. So I'd go when it was like cold, so everything was like still refrigerated. And I mean, I found some great stuff for us, and it was cool for a while. But then I got to thinking, like, what else could be in the trash? Like, what else could be out there? And I started going to GameStop just like you. And I think I got on Reddit around that time and like just discovered people doing this, and that
was a subreddit. Like dumpster diving was a subreddit, or okay.
Before the show, I went back to my like Reddit history, and I started posting 5 years ago, but I was doing stuff before then just because I didn't know about like the social community of it online, or even Reddit in like general. Like I knew of Reddit, but I didn't know where specifically to go. So finding the like dumpster diving subreddit was my first like community for what I was doing. It was really nice just because I could post the weird, cool things that I found. Everyone was like, that's cool too.
Yeah, that's cool. I know that like dumpster diving became really popular, for at least I found it, because it started getting popular on YouTube, where people were making dumpster diving like channels. And I don't know who that one guy and girl are, but it's like theirs is really clickbaity, where it's like 1,000 gift cards found in dumpster, and then they look them all up and they found like 10 cents. But them, and then what's the other one that I saw? Well, this was more recent, but Mr. Beast made a video about dumpster diving where he was like, I dumpster dove in 100 dumpsters and here's what I found. And it was like Apple iPad boxes, and he didn't really find anything, but it brought dumpster diving like really more mainstream because Mr. Beast did it. And then people were like, oh, well, if you can find an Apple Watch in a dumpster or whatever. So, but well, when I first started reselling, I did dumpster diving for all my shipping supplies too.
I still do.
Yeah. So I mean, I do too, but I've niched down a lot where I don't like go out looking for like as many odd boxes and stuff as I used to, where like I used to be an everything seller. And I still sell a little bit of everything, but I've really niched down because I'm just trying to, for me, it's easier to streamline my process, like have poly bags and shoe boxes, and that fits 80% of my needs. And then every once in a while I'll sell a Rock Band set and I'll go dumpster dive for the box or something. So yes.
R.I.P. to that much.
Yeah. So but I'm trying to think of like, I made a post a couple years ago because I went dumpster diving. I wanted to make a YouTube video about it when I had started YouTube. It's probably been about 2 years, and I went to like 10 or 12 different dumpsters, and I went to a GameStop dumpster, and I found I think it was a Super Mario Nintendo Switch box.
Really?
And I sold the box on Mercari in like 2 hours for $45.
It's amazing.
So it's like, it was just crazy. Because I hadn't actually, when I used to do it when I was like 16, it was like for decorations for my room, because I was like a Halo nerd.
Right.
And then I started going dumpster diving, and I'm like, my gosh, someone bought this empty box from me for $45, and they didn't return it, thinking that there was an actual Nintendo Switch in there.
It just clicks. Like, they'll buy anything. Like, someone wants this. Someone wants this stuff from the trash.
Yeah, and so it's pretty crazy how, once you start getting the bug, the itch for something like that, you find that you can sell something that someone threw on the curb. I've picked up, I don't know how much like curb, trash picking you do, but like I've done that before. And it's like, I found technically I didn't find it, but a friend of mine used to work at an apartment complex. He was like one of the groundskeepers there. And someone was throwing away, they have like those automatic dumpsters where it like pushes forward everything and makes room for more. Someone put like a wooden motorcycle rocking chair like out for the dumpster. And he texted me and sent me a picture of it. And I was like, and he was like, do you want this? Someone's throwing it away. And that same week, he found me a Rock Band set. Someone was throwing away a full Rock Band set. I sold it for $250. But, and that was during COVID. Like when it first started happening, like in, I think 2019, like the end 2020. So, but the motorcycle thing was crazy because I couldn't find anything like it. So I just found it, or I went and picked it up from him, and I took pictures of it and I posted it on eBay, and I sold it for $175. And it was just like, I just picked a price because I didn't know what to price that, but it was solid wood. Someone handmade this. It wasn't like some cheap IKEA, rocking chair that you put together.
Yeah.
And, although I do love IKEA furniture. So, but this rocking chair was crazy, and I sold for $175. And it's like, at the time, it was like one of my most liked posts because I talked about, I was like, trash to cash is like what I called the post or whatever. And so,
so when I like made that switch to like go into GameStop, it became like an every night thing. At like 11 o'clock, I'd go out. I was like, I'm so excited to go. And for a while, I was just finding like such good stuff, like all the big promotional posters for like games that just came out, all the like display boxes they'd fold and put up. And like they'd sell for like 25, 35. Some of the bigger ones for some of the like AAA game titles, Nintendo, stuff like that would sell for like 50 or 60. But then I started finding like promotional stuff that they would like give out, but they would throw it out early for some reason. So this one time, it was actually around this time of year because it was before Black Friday. They were doing this promotion where you got a Lego Dimensions green Arrow figure, I think it was, with like a certain purchase on Black Friday. So this was like probably like 3-ish weeks before Black Friday that year. And I was just like pulling stuff out of the trash, and I found a whole bag full of these figures.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And I went home and I like looked up what they were going for, and they were like $30 to $60, just depending. And I was like, this is a lot of money right here that I just found. I think I found like 30 figures. Wow. So I sold all of them, and I think I made like, it had to have been like $2,000. And I was just blown away. Like that was the first time when I was like, oh, you can actually make good money off of this. And then I was hooked, and I wanted to find more of this, and it was just really, really cool.
Yeah. What's up, Matt? My friend Matt said the other day he found a super nice TV with a remote in the trash the other day. He brought it home, tested it, and he's like, it works great. So he just hung it up in his house. Like, he throws away a flat screen TV.
It's like this big, but it has like the AV hookups and the HDMI, so it's perfect for testing like any game system.
Nice.
And it was just trash, like it's perfect.
Yeah.
Totally. He said that GameStops have compactors now, and there was a big shift. I don't know, because like after a while, like you said, it got popular. Speedy Diver was a guy that really like blew up the GameStop scene, and he would post videos every few days, every week or something about all the stuff he was finding at GameStop. And it changed so much of it. Like stuff was getting just torn up and destroyed. They would just like pour God knows what in the dumpster to just destroy everything. And they'd lock dumpsters or do whatever they could to stop people from like getting their trash that they just didn't want. Me.
It's so weird because like you would think that they would just like have a simple solution, like, I don't know, donate it to Comic-Con or something like that before throwing it away if they don't want people taking it. But it's like, I do remember talking to one of the GameStop employees years ago when they were, I don't want to say he was holding it for me, but when I was a closing shift manager at the Cold Stone ice cream place, like the GameStop guy would come over and be like, yo, I'm throwing away the Halo promos if you want to come grab them. And like, there was one time where there was like 200 posters, and like, it was crazy because I mean, they're lightweight, they're easy to ship. Everybody would love to have like a Halo 2 Master Chief poster, like all the gamers at least.
Yeah, man.
And so, it's just crazy how like certain, how do you kind of like word it? Like certain people like are there and they're just like, corporate tells us to throw it away, so we're throwing it away. And other ones are like, no, you can't have it. We're locking the gate. Like, they really defend their job over the trash that's getting thrown away. And it's like,
it's wild. I'm trying to think of the word too. The like commitment to the job or for no reason, just because corporate's like, we don't want them to do that.
Yeah.
But
Hey, everybody that's coming into the chat. I see all your guys' names. Kathy, Ginger Marvin, just fabulous. Mike, Braden, Rachel, thank you guys for being here. Dalton, appreciate all you guys. Anthony said, I used to get a bunch of cardboard cutouts from the movie theaters and game displays from the movie and game displays at Walmart. Yeah. It's just crazy. And, I think that like that kind of like leads me into, could kind of just like segue into just like reselling a little bit from the dumpster diving is like, I think that, the greatest thing about reselling to me is that, like you said, you can literally sell anything. And I mean, I'm trying to think like of some of the most weird stuff that I've sold, but like I actually have one up here to keep it as a memento. This is probably one of my favorite flips that I ever had. And it's this right here, this Mountain Dew Voodoo flavored mystery flavor can. This was from 2019. So in 2019, I was at Walmart one day grocery shopping, and I see this. This is Mike Bankson. What up, Mike? My chicken booty. It's like that's an inside joke from like middle school. So anyway, I didn't know that was him. So this Voodoo right here. I was grocery shopping one day. And I had like this was the year that I really started reselling, was like the beginning of 2019. And I was grocery shopping. This was obviously around like Halloween time. It was probably August, September. And I see this Mountain Dew and I'm like, what is this? And so while I'm telling the story, actually, this gives me a really good idea because Liz posted here. I sold a candy wrapper for $100. I want everybody in the chat to share the craziest or most random thing you've sold online. Could be eBay, Facebook, anything. Poshmark, Mercari. Let us know so we can talk about that for a couple minutes. But long story short, I scanned the Voodoo can, or the 12 pack, and there was a couple people that had the cans listed, or the 12 packs listed, but nobody had the cans listed. Someone was selling the 12 pack for like $49.99. So I went and bought all they had. There was only 6 on the shelf. So I bought all 6 and I took them out of the shelf and I like stacked them in a pyramid, like with all of them. And I listed it and I said 1 can. And from August of 2019 to like January of 2020, I literally sold 6 12 packs of individual cans of Mountain Dew for $7 a can plus shipping.
It's amazing.
It's crazy. And I couldn't believe it because it paid for my groceries for like so long, because all I did was scan a special limited edition Mountain Dew. And I actually kept that a secret until I pretty much sold all of them, because obviously I didn't want to flood the market, because I did that with, what did I do that with? There was another limited edition something. I think it was a Red Bull. There was a limited edition flavor of Red Bull. And I shared it on Instagram that I had sold it, and like literally, I swear, like the next day, there was like 400 listings.
It's really funny how that works.
It was wild.
Just like your Mountain Dew thing. It's funny how like parallel this is, because when I was dumpster diving, something I would find like a bunch of times would be these like Pokemon code cards that they give out.
Yeah.
But again, for whatever reason, an employee or like who knows, put a sealed pack of them, which is like I think 100 cards, in the trash. So there were two of them, and I sold them for like $2.50 a piece, like $2.50 a piece. But those 200 cards became my like seed money for reselling. So I made like $400, I think, total after like whatever, and I like used that to start getting into thrift stores and finding other things.
That's awesome. Rescue and Resell sold pirate ship cards from 2000 they found in the trash for $165. Christopher sold a bag of Fritos from 1971 for $265. I can't imagine the type of the buyer. What does a buyer do?
Well,
I mean, I guess if you're a collector, there's collectors for everything, but I can't imagine someone's buying that to open it and eat it. You know,
that box of Sprite that I found in my aunt's garage.
Yes, that was insane. Talk about that for a second.
So back in, I guess it was 2020, I told my aunt I'd like help her clean out her house, because they have a lot of stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff in her house, and I was just like, I'm sure you have a lot of valuable things in here, and there's money to be made. I think right now, like I'm still selling some of her stuff. I've sold over $7,000 worth of stuff just from her house, just on like online. But I've done yard sales and stuff too. But one of these days, I went up there for a whole week. Like, got up there at 10, left at like 5 or 6. And one day I was like getting ready to go, and out in their like garage, they have like sodas stacked up on the side, right by the like steps to go in, because it's always cooler out there. So they just like I don't know, bring some in for parties, or just like go out and get a drink. And I'm just looking for a second, and I'm like, what is this Sprite? I've never heard of this Sprite before. And it was cranberry Sprite, from like 2017 or something like that. It was a sealed 12-pack, and I was like, I'm sure this is money. Someone that I follow on Instagram, Shelly, had shared something about like a special edition Sprite. So I was like, well, I got to check it. And there was only one sealed thing for sale, not sold, and it was like $300. I was like, okay, that's pretty wild to me. So I obviously went home and listed it immediately, and it sold for, I'm pretty sure it was $325.
Yeah, that's insane. There's a guy on Instagram. I don't remember his name, but I don't know if you follow him. He's up in Canada, Captain Flip Flops.
Yeah, he's one of the like earliest people I followed.
yeah, me too, actually, which is really crazy, because he sells some of the most craziest things that he finds in the trash on the side of people's roads in Canada up there. And he did the same thing with like some Monster limited edition can he sold like a 24-pack of Monster for like $600 or something.
Wild.
Monster energy drinks for those of you guys that are listening. But it's just crazy. So you can go to his page, I think it's Captain Flip Flops, all one word, but he has a post about it. And we're actually going to open up Mike's Instagram in a couple minutes here and go through a couple of his posts that he's sold. We're going to talk about him. We're going to do a little deep dive. He can give us some information on those things. But let's just talk about a couple of the basic things real quick, because it's like, I just want to get that out into the open. You're in Maryland, correct?
I am.
And so majority of the stuff that you get is thrifting and garage sales.
Yeah, I'd say, pretty much all of it, besides if I'm doing consignment for someone. Okay.
So for me, like, what do the thrift stores look like for you in Maryland? Because down here, I would say, like, my business is, as of right now, probably like 5% thrifted, if that. Really? Like, which is crazy, because it's just like I just don't find a lot at the thrift stores anymore. Now I'm looking for specific things now. Yeah. Versus like I'll still walk through the whole store, but like I'm not like if I see a Squishmallow or something, like I look at them, but I'm not like, every time I see a Squishmallow, it's like the $4 value one. I don't find a $400 Squishmallow. So I'm like, I kind of just stopped doing those. VCRs and DVD players, like I don't look at them anymore because I get tired of shipping them and I hate dealing with returns.
Yep.
So, you know, like there's certain categories, but for the most part, my Goodwills or Goodwills in Florida are just getting insanely overpriced. So, you know, like you're seeing, you know, shoes behind the counter for $200, you know, Brooks running shoes, you know, for $80 behind the glass counter. And, you know, every t-shirt is $5.99 in my Goodwill right now for a t-shirt. For pants, it's like $14.99. So it's like, how do you buy a pair of, you know, pants unless it's going to sell for 50, 60 bucks? So, you know, anyway, flea markets, garage, and whole is really where I'm getting a lot of my stuff. So what's that like for you?
So I have been telling people for like a while now that Maryland has two main exports, crabs and resellers, for whatever reason. Like, I don't know what it is, but the per capita of like resellers in the state is just nuts. Like every thrift store you go into, you can tell when someone's a reseller, like you'd see it. And I mean, like, I guess I'm sure they think the same about like me and everyone else, but it's really wild how much it's shifted. Just kind of like dumpster diving too, how it started off as this like niche thing that I was like, dang, this is really cool. And then it just got like slowly pushed into being really mainstream, and like dumpster diving died off just because of all the other like things about it, all the things I can't control, like places locking their dumpsters or just not throwing things away. But now it's like there's a lot more competition. And I am lucky to live in an area where I have like 4 or 5 good thrift stores that I don't have to travel too far to go to. And I mean, I still find decent stuff. I don't think that I could scale, and I don't think I want to scale, but I really enjoy finding things the way that I have been. And it's just part of the joy of the job, is just like, I never know what I'm going to find. But like you said, the prices are going up at the Savers by me. They just got a new media person and they put out a stack of comics like this big today. And I was like, sweet. So I, took them all and checked them, and there were like a few good ones, but I didn't check the prices. And then right before I left, two of the TPBs, like the thicker books, were $20 a piece. I was like, oh my God, you're killing me. They were $4 like 2 weeks ago. So who knows what's going on there.
Yeah, it's crazy because like speaking of like comics, one of the only times I've ever found like good media at my Goodwill was I was in a Goodwill, and luckily I have been there enough where like most of the employees and managers have recognized my face. So, and I'm usually, which you can tell me about your opinions on this too, but I'm not afraid to ask for a discount because my opinion is the worst they can say is no.
Yeah.
And if they say no, I'll still pay the price because I put it in my cart, but I'm going to ask. So anyway, they rolled out a cart of media, and there was like a stack of like Shonen Jump, I don't know if they're comics, it's more magazines, right?
Yeah, magazines.
And it was like all these volumes, but there was a lady standing right next to me. And she was like, looking at one, and I started putting them in my cart, and she was like, are you really about to take all those? And I was like, well, yeah. And I was like, do you want to split it with me? And she's like, well, I'm only looking for this, whatever it was. And so I went through them, and I couldn't tell you what it was again. It was like, let's just call it Batman. She wanted the ones that had Batman on it or whatever it was. And so I was like, all right, you can have those. It was like 3 or 4 of them. And I was like, even if it's not a complete set anymore, like I can still get good money for these. But they were all priced at like $5.99 per magazine. Crazy. And then the sticker is on the magazine, so you got to peel the freaking sticker off of them, So I go up to the counter and I'm like, hey, listen, I'm buying all of these. Would you guys be willing to do anything? And she's like, well, I can't do anything. Let me call up the manager. She called the manager. And anyway, she gave them to me for $1.99 each since I bought them all, which was like, I was like, sick. I'll take that. It was like, but it doesn't hurt to ask. But so that would be my next question is like, how do you feel about that? Do you do that? Or, like if things are overpriced in my thrift store, I mean, I do complain about it a lot on Instagram. Like if you guys follow me, on Instagram, I'm always showing overpriced stuff at my Goodwills. but it's more to tell people like, listen, everybody thinks that Florida is this amazing state, but I mean, you can find good stuff because there's like garage sales year round because of the weather, but like at the Goodwills, like they're really pricing things up. And so, you have to really go to a lot of stores sometimes to find that. But yeah, so, let me know, what are your thoughts about that?
So I have this one Goodwill that's like the closest one to me. And I've been going there since like 2018, and I love that store. A bunch of the employees that were there in 2018 are still there, and I have a pretty good relationship with them. I've only asked for a price change like a few times there. I don't think I'd do it anywhere else. Like the Savers by me, they probably just laugh in my face. Like they're just, there's too many people and too much corporate involved for them to allow any changes. Back at the end of, I think it was 2019, I found all those Starbucks mugs at a Goodwill, which was a really, really awesome find. And they were like 3 for the like ornaments and then 5 for the big ones. And when I like checked out, I was like, would you just do 100 for all of them? And they were like, sure. And then I had a coupon. It was $75.
I was going to ask about that. Savers has coupons too, which like, so at my Goodwill in Central Florida, for every $200 you spend, you get $5 in credit. And then like Joey bought a Bing 22 for in his Florida, which is the one that I don't know if you watched it. There's like that one vintage guy. I think it's F as in Frank, and then Rally Roots. They both interviewed that manager from the Goodwill.
Oh my God.
That's the same area that Joey is.
Yeah.
He has the thing where he pays like $25 a year and gets a membership where he gets 25% off every purchase, no matter what.
Wow.
But in Central Florida, it's $5 for every $200 you spend. It's so crazy the differences. So like, I have no problem asking when I get to the register. I'm just like, you guys have these shoes priced at $49.99. Is there any way you could do like $29.99, or something? And so like, I'm always a proponent of, it's the same thing at garage sales. It's like, if you don't ask, you're never going to get a better price, but I'm not going to get angry if the manager says no.
Yeah.
But every once in a while you catch a manager on a good day and, down here, and they'll give you a discount. But I think a lot of people are just afraid to do it. But shout out to Allison, Big Drift, fangirling over Mike here. So pretty, I'm really excited to have him on the channel. And someone was asking, what's Mike's channel? He doesn't have a YouTube channel, but you can find him with that same name, Dumpster Night, on Instagram. So did you make a channel?
I was in Dumpster Night 11 years ago.
Okay.
if there's a Dumpster Night YouTube, well, that's pretty funny to me, because like when I got on Instagram, I was pretty pleased that I was able to get like an original name. The only YouTube videos I have up were from when I was in college. I was actually a film major, and we had to like do some stuff just to like post to YouTube to like share it with the teacher. But no, I am not on YouTube at all. Just Instagram.
So let me ask this. If you don't want to talk about it too much, we don't have to, but is there any reason why you've chosen, like, since you've had success with dumpster diving and all that you never made a channel? Or is it just like too time consuming, just not interesting to you?
It's all of that. I've been asked a bunch of times, like, why don't you make a YouTube channel? Like, the stuff that you're saying would be like valuable. And a big part of it, I think the biggest part of it, is that I don't have the time, and I also have terrible ADHD. So the focus of trying to shoot, edit, produce, like all that, like I said, I majored in film, and that was a lot, but trying to be, make a high quality video, get people's attention, keep the content going on a platform like YouTube is a whole different beast than just, sharing stuff to my story on Instagram, or cropping a photo of some stupid thing I sold. Making a post about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, YouTube is a beast, just like you said. And for me, I gotten to the point over the years where I just film and edit and upload when I feel like it, versus trying to please an audience. And so, like at first I was chasing views, chasing monetization, chasing YouTube fame, I guess you could say, like, and at the end of the day, like, it came down to it, and I'm like, this space there's really not much opportunity to go viral. Like, you can, like Froggy Flips, Harry Tornado, RVA Flips, Thrift Mine, a couple of those guys have had viral videos from garage sales, where they've gotten like 1 million views, 2 million views, where it's like insane find at garage sale. But those people don't stay on the channel. They watch that one video or they want to see the grail that you found, and then they don't come back. It's not like that audience retains in the masses, at least. And so I got to a point where I'm like, I'm done chasing the virality of YouTube, hoping for a viral video to make my channel blow up. I'm just going to post content when I feel like it, when I enjoy it, when I'm motivated to do it. And if I'm not enjoying it when I'm doing it, there's no point for me to do it, because I'm not really making a lot of money on YouTube. I mean, if anything, it's mostly from like my how-to videos that still get repetitive views, which is, I guess, evergreen content is what people call it. But I just make content when I feel like it at this point. And so I can totally relate to you on that. And like, there have been times where I haven't made a video for 2 months, you know, and then I just get back on the train and I put out 3 videos in a week, and then you don't see me for another month or something. It's just like, you know, like I have so much content from the Rag House when I went and I won that contest, but I only put out 1 video from it. And it's like, you know, the Rag House isn't exactly something that everybody was excited to see. It got very minimal views for what I was hoping for. And so I was like, I'm not going to put all the effort into this for, you know, for whatever. But I really do enjoy Instagram. So we could talk about that for a second too. Like posting on Instagram, like what got you into, I don't know if you can remember, because I really can't. I think it's just around the time that I decided I was going to make a YouTube channel was when I started taking my personal Instagram page as Drew Friedman 13, and I turned it into Drew Thrifts and Flips, which I had just recently changed to Profit Monsters, because I'm trying to go for like the whole branding thing as of recent. But I just started posting like everything from package pictures to my sales to my cost of goods to yard sale finds. And I found that I just started really enjoying that. And then through that, finding the reselling community and finding certain people. And then I just started kind of like not imitating them, but finding what stuff I enjoyed that they were posting. And then I started posting things like that too. Like, oh, people that share bolos get lots of likes and comments and engagement. So I'm going to share when I find something at a thrift store, you know, like a bolo or something like that. And so, you know, but I find myself to be extremely active on Instagram, even though monetarily it doesn't really pay out, other than if I'm making reels. I average like, let's call it like $100 a month making reels, which is more just me like doing comedy for fun. Like most of my reels is like comedic in nature, I guess. So I'm trying not to ramble. I'm trying to get to the point so you can talk, because I want you to talk.
Well, how I got onto Instagram.
And like the value, like what, you know, as far as value is concerned, like how much time do you spend on Instagram? Are you like, do you block out times for it, or do you just like hop on when you feel like it? Do you answer every DM? Do you, you know, all that kind of stuff, like whatever about Instagram and reselling that you want to share?
Yeah. So like I said, with the dumpster diving, when I found Reddit and found the first like community for this, it was really, really nice. And then after a while, because dumpster diving kind of went away and I shifted to, you know, thrifting and yard sales, I was like, well, where are the people that do this? So I found a Facebook group, and it was stay-at-home moms reselling on eBay. It was run by Suzanne A. Wells. I don't know if she's still reselling or not.
Yeah, I know who she is.
Yeah. I was in that group for, I think like a year or so. I loved it. Like, it was really cool. They did like weekly things where they would say like, post your highest sale. They do a bunch of this stuff. And then one day I just got kicked out and I was like, I was devastated. Like, no joke. I felt awful because I was part of a community. It felt really nice to like be able to talk to these people that were doing the same thing as me, that I could talk to about the things that were going on, that I could ask questions, and all of a sudden it was just gone. I was like, man, like that is just really, really upsetting. And I like posted on Reddit and tried to find like another Facebook group. And I actually like talked to someone about Suzanne and that she just apparently does that when she feels like someone's giving too much information or is taking away from like what's going on in the group. She's just like, bye. So, and then I just decided to hop on Instagram and give that a try because I saw people like talking about all these resellers on Instagram and the content that was going on over there. And when I started out, it was just kind of posting what I was doing. At the time, my son was in pre-K, and I was home with my daughter, who had to be like an infant, like 1, maybe younger and on. So there were pictures of me and her at like the grocery store, and then we were going thrifting, and like she was just my thrifting partner for the whole week, and all the stuff I was doing. Like there's pictures of stuff I found, there's pictures of like, I don't know, the dinner I made and stuff like that. And then it just kind of evolved into me focusing on reselling because it was what I was most passionate about, like talking about to other people.
Right.
And I could share all like the family stuff with people on Facebook still, but being on Instagram gave me like that big sense of community again. And I really, really like that, because this job I'm really passionate about. And like I said, I went to school for film, and I'm sure as heck not doing that. So it's nice to be passionate about something and to be able to talk to other people who feel the same way as me and also get what's going on.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Like, I think that one of the things that, which I like to talk about on my channel a lot because other resellers don't, is like reselling is very lonely when you do it by yourself.
Yeah.
And, to sit and, take pictures and list, and you're just like by yourself, or you're in your office, or you're in your, your basement, whatever your listing section is. And, you're doing it by yourself, or you're even thrifting by yourself and stuff like that. It's like, it's fun to thrift with friends, but when you're doing it like as your actual job, you're obviously going out every single day. You can't like be with a friend every single day or something like that. Yeah. And so, it's very lonely, and the community on Instagram, I think psychologically it helps a lot of people, myself included, just feel like, hey, you're not alone, or hey, when someone is excited that you found something cool, and it's like, yeah, none of my friends from church or none of my family cares that I found this bowling ball worth $120, but people on Instagram are so excited for me that I just found this freaking bowling ball.
Yeah.
And so it's just a way, it's an outlet for sure to be able to like share that with other people, but then be able to like, for me, like one of the things I've always wanted to do is like help and teach and coach and motivate and inspire. Yeah. And so by like sharing things that I found, and bolos and, big solds and things like that, I think that it's really great, because it's not only does it help people, but it's like, it also boosts your, I don't know, the medical terms of like serotonin and whatever. It like makes you feel good too, when you make a sale and then other people appreciate that you found something for $5 and you sold it for $200. It's not like you're making a post to brag, because it's really nothing to brag about. People sell stuff every day. Yeah. But it's like, it's just cool that you found something unique, and you took a can of Mountain Dew and you sold 100 cans for $7, and you made $700 selling, mystery flavored soda or something. And like, it's just a lot of fun. And so I really enjoy being on Instagram and, connecting with people. And, everybody comes from different ways of life, and everybody has like places they live, like Anfisa, and Allison that live in Alaska, and seeing people that live in Alaska, like, are able to make a full-time living. Like, most people that think of Alaska think it's just ice. Antarctica, people think it's just moose and ice and snow everywhere. But it's like, when you can see, someone in Texas or California or Maryland or Florida, and like everybody's doing the same thing, but just in their own way. It's so cool. And so that's the community that is on Instagram is very cool. I never really got too much into Reddit personally. But and neither of the Facebook groups. I got into one. I don't know if you know Dom, Primetime Treasure Hunter.
Yeah, I was in it for a little bit. I think I might still be, but I mean, Facebook is just kind of like gone to the wayside. yeah,
a little bit. And so his group was really the first like community group that I found. And he used to do like Support That Seller Sunday, So every Sunday he'd pick one person in the group and he'd post their eBay link, and then everybody would go buy something from them.
Remember that?
Like that was a lot of fun. It was just cool that like he was actually trying to do something, you know. And anytime someone would attack somebody in the comments, he'd remove them from the group or say like this is a positive, safe space and all that kind of stuff. So I really appreciated that from him. And you know, that guy's like insane. He's like a medical doctor on a board of directors. He sleeps like 2 hours a night. If you guys don't follow Dom, go follow him. And, you know, he does estate sales where he buys stuff for like 10 cents and sells it for, you know, $100 or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, I've really enjoyed the Instagram side of things. So let me pull up a couple pictures from your Instagram and we'll talk about them, and we'll do like a little deep dive here, and we'll talk about basically, I have to do a, go into the presenter here. So I might not be able to see your physical face while I'm doing this, but let me see. Let me go to present and share screen, and we'll go to tab right here. Okay, so we're gonna go to share. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Mike's Instagram pulled up here. If you guys see something on his page that you want to ask about, let me know. But I think the one that's most obvious, like if you guys go, Mike's got a lot of great pictures, and look at this one with the van. But really cool pictures, information, you know, shipping and sales, what he paid for things and all that kind of stuff. You know, what sold, weekend packages, Goosebump books, you know, things that he sold and all that kind of stuff. Look at this Funko Pops right here. So there's so many to choose. I really don't even know, where to start. But I do want to start with this one because it's probably one of the most, I wouldn't call it controversial. That's not the right word, but the most exciting posts I've ever seen from you. So let's talk about this for a second. Tell me about this post. And actually, is the video on the Instagram too?
It's not. I need to add it to my highlights. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't.
So if you guys don't follow Mike, this is probably one of, in my opinion, one of your most iconic posts.
It is like, if I had to pick one, this would be it. This is, I have to say, my favorite find of all time. So
yeah, so tell us about it real quick. Tell us how you found it, what you did with them, what you still have, if you have any left, and you know how all that went down.
Yeah, quick though, I want to give a shout out to Erica. I really appreciate her. And same, you are one of the earliest people I followed too. So thank you very much. That's very kind of you. So yeah, I actually have them behind me, and I will pull it out because it is.
Oh, let's go.
It's in a sideways little bread box here. So yeah, I just went out on a regular Saturday morning, and I don't even remember like what else I found that day, but I don't think I was finding much, and I was like bummed. And I was just driving, and I saw a sign, and I was like, all right, there's a yard sale, I'll check it. And it was a really unassuming yard sale, and I just asked the lady, I was like, do you have any like Pokemon cards? She's like, I got some old ones inside. I don't know if you want those. I was like, well, like bring them out. Maybe I will. And she walked like.
I know you're getting like excited just talking about it.
I can put myself like right back to when I saw this woman walk out with this box in her hands, and I was just like inside. I was dying. Like I was screaming. And like when she walked up, I was just completely like good. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. And she was like, well, how much do the packs go for these days? I was like, they're like $5 at the store or whatever. She's like, well, what did you just like $10 for this? I was like, oh my God.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, yes, I will absolutely do that. So I paid the woman, thanked her, got into my car, drove down out of earshot, and then started screaming. Because it was, I would tell my wife every week, I'm like, I'm going to find some Wizards of the Coast Pokemon cards. I'm going to do it. I'm going to find a sealed pack. I'm going to find something. But to find 13 of them in the original box was just like the craziest thing that has ever happened. It was unreal.
Let me get you on the big screen real quick so we can see a pack. For those of you guys who don't know, these are first edition base set jungle Pokemon booster packs, which came out in 1999. A pack right now, first edition on eBay goes for what, like $300-$400 a pack?
I think it's lower now. During COVID, they were crazy. I think they peaked at like 400, 450. They've gone down
per pack, guys, per pack.
So when I got them, I had 13. I sold 3, opened 2. For older Pokemon packs like this, you can weigh them, and the heavier they are, the more likely they are to have a holographic card in there. The holographic cards are worth more, and I sold 2 of the heavies and then kept 2. And then from those heavy packs, I graded all of those.
Do you mind me asking how much you sold the 2 for?
I don't remember. I sold 1 to OG Retro, Ryan Topkin, who is a great dude, and then I sold 1 to my buddy who lives in Maryland. I can't remember what I sold him for. I gave him like, a little bit off, but they like knew that I wasn't gonna.
Didn't you raffle one too though? Because I thought
that's what a raffle.
Yeah, because I entered the raffle. I think I bought a spot in the raffle, but I didn't win. So
yeah. So from those packs, the 2 holographic cards that I pulled were a Vaporeon and a Mr. Mime.
And this is on your Instagram, the unboxing from PSA.
Yeah, so they are PSA 9.
Wow.
PSA 10 is the highest you can get. I was absolutely tickled that I got a 9 because I don't care. Like, it was great. They like opening these. I actually have when I opened the packs too. I was just like all jitters and so nervous because
of course,
it was just a dream come true. Like, I never thought that would actually happen. For a while, every Friday night, I was doing like Friday night vision boards, I think I called it, where on my story I like tell people to post what they think they'll find tomorrow.
Oh yeah. You still do that occasionally.
I do it from time to time, but it kind of just like fell to the wayside too. But it was really fun for a while, and like if someone did find something that they manifested, it was like this really cool thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was I don't think I could ever top this. It would have to be, I don't know. It would have to be something else, like Skyrim.
So I have a couple of questions about that. First question: did you ever go back to that lady's house and ask if she had any other ones?
It's so funny because I don't know if you saw, but this year I was just out of the yard sale and I went to a random house again, and I bought these like, I don't know, like kitchen Victorian house canisters. And when I left, I was like, oh my God, this is where I got the cards from. So I went back unknowingly to this lady's yard sale and bought something else, and then didn't even realize where I was like 2 years later.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, yeah, I mean, I could only imagine you weren't looking at the brick pavers in the front yard when you pulled those out. So, but one day you'll have to maybe repost on your, like, as an anniversary. If you guys don't follow Mike on Instagram, like the day that he found them, he put like a warning on his story and said like, warning, loud noises. I'm going to blow your speakers out. And then it was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And like, it was just crazy. It was just so cool. And it was like, everybody was sharing it on Instagram. Everybody was freaking out for you. And like, I remember you going live and you were like showing them and you were, doing all this stuff. So my next question is like 2-part. The first one is, are there any heavy packs left from the ones you weighed? And 2, do you have plans for the other packs? Are you ever going to sell them? You ever going to open them? You plan on just keeping them?
So I don't have any heavy packs left. I opened the 2 heavies because I just decided that like it would be more profitable because I was going to get a hollow out of those packs. Like, it was basically guaranteed. If it's over like 20 grams or something, it's heavy enough to have hollow. So I was like, if it's a PSA 9 or 10, it's going to be worth it to just open them. So I have 7, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, I have 7 packs left. There's no plan to do anything with them right now. It is just, I like having them there. Like, it's just really nice to know
It's
that they're there.
iconic, man. It's iconic. So.
It is iconic, and it is a defining moment in my life. Like, it's like the birth of my children, getting married, finding a first edition jungle Pokemon booster box at a yard. So, like, what else could I do in my life to top that? I can't climb Mount Everest. This is my Everest.
Yeah. So for me, most of you guys know who have been following me for a while, but my most iconic find, which like I actually regret selling, was I found a pair of original 1985 Air Jordan 1 Chicago colorway basketball shoes at the bins.
Really?
And I paid like $2 for them. And they were in such good condition for being at the bins. I couldn't believe it. And it was like, that was the moment for me where I was like, oh my God. But this was really like, this was like 2019. So it was before, or maybe 2018. I don't know. It was before, I have to go back and look at the YouTube video, but it was before COVID, before sneaker hype went real crazy. And when I looked them up on eBay, when I found them at the bins, there was the highest price listed one was for $900. So I took pictures of them in the bins and priced it for $900. And I got a $500 offer before I had even paid for them. Yeah. So I accepted the offer. You know, I countered $650 and he countered $500 again and said, this is the most I can do. And I was like, not really thinking about like future of it. I was thinking of, I can make $500 right now.
$500 right now.
Like $500. And I haven't even paid for them at the bins yet. And so I did it. And I made the YouTube video about it, and it's kind of like really cringy because it was like one of my first videos. So if you go back and you watch it, and I'm like sitting in my car holding my phone, like shaking, and I'm like, I just found Air Jordan 1s. And it's like so bad. And all the comments to this day are, I would have given you 10K for those. I would have given you 20K for those. You got scammed, bro. You're an idiot, bro. And it's like, at the time, they weren't selling for 10K. Right. And I would have never known that 3 years from now, they would be selling for 10 or 20K. And even if they were, if I would have kept them, I would have never sold them for 10K. They'd still be hanging on my wall, you know, from the shoelaces or something. So, so that's like my crazy find. But other than that, I've never found like anything else that was like insane, iconic, $10,000, $5,000, or anything like that. But I do want to talk about this real quick because I want to go back to Instagram and ask about a couple more things. But a couple people have asked about this. So we've heard about we're hearing about your arch nemesis from a guy who sits at a thrift store all day. So tell us about that.
It sucks. It is, like I said, like for whatever reason, Maryland is just rife with resellers. So this one guy, he's been going to the store probably longer than me, and just as long as me that I've like seen him there. I actually set up next to him at a flea market once. Like, he lives literally right down the street from me. Like, I could walk to his house in like 20 minutes. He apparently retired. Like, there's another regular there who isn't a reseller. He's just kind of like buys stuff for gifts, he says. But he was like, oh yeah, I heard he retired, so he's going to be here all day. And sure enough, it's like 10 to 3 or whatever his hours are. But it is not my favorite thing in the world. And like, the thing is, it's okay because it's isolated to this one store. Like, there's competition at every store, and I haven't ever really had much competition at the store. So I think that's why I'm so sore about it, especially because I know all the employees there. Like, it's my stomping grounds. Like, it's where I like cut my teeth on reselling in thrift stores. So it sucks to have to not feel welcome in that thrift store, but like, I don't have any right to it. It is just unpleasant because there's nothing I can do about it. Like, I can't be like, you should go because it's my turn. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to harp on it. That's just who I am as a person, and I own that. But it bothers me. He's in my head, whatever. Like, it sucks.
I think we all have stories like that. I know Tim Osborne the Thrift. He's got a guy that like basically from what Tim says, I don't know if he's in the chat or not. He might be here. But if he is here, he can share it. But there's a guy that goes to like all the Deseret industry thrift stores.
Yeah.
But there's like one that Tim always goes to, and that guy's always there. And he like purposely gets there before the store opens, is the first one in line to make sure that he gets there before Tim, you know, and he like follows Tim on social media to see what he's selling, to purposely pick up stuff that Tim's picking up. And that's just, I don't have any like one individual, but like, I'll tell you, if you have ever been to the bins, I don't know like where it is everywhere else, but in Florida, and it's no disrespect to them at all, but it's like they are flooded with Haitians in Central Florida. And the Haitian women, most of them, not all of them, most of them will elbow you, push you, shove you, curse you out in Haitian. Don't give a rip what you're doing right next to them. If you're standing next to them and you're touching a piece of clothing that they're going for, they'll rip it right out of your hand, baby, and they don't care. And those are the times where I got to a point where I was like, I got to stop going to the bins for a little bit, because I'm not even looking for the same stuff they are, but I'm getting elbowed in between two Haitian women that are squishing me, and I can't even reach my hand into the bin. And I'm trying to just like casually pull a t-shirt here or there. And I'm like, oh my goodness, these ladies are ruthless. And then you know what? I end up buying stuff from them at the flea market anyway. They know who I am. So it's like I got to a point where I said, I'm not fighting them for shoes anymore. They can have them at the bins, and I'll buy them from them at the flea market, because they do their checks. They for the most part, they make sure they're not ripped or torn, in decent condition to resell. So half of them, I just let them do the picking at the bins, and then I pay them $10-15 for them it's basically like I'm paying them to pick for me. I just don't have to go to the bins anymore. So
I get that mindset of like, at some point, it's more like mentally taxing to subject yourself to it, because it's rough. The bins near us, like Brainstorm Rodeo just said, it used to be great, and then COVID hit, and it has not been the same. Like, it used to be what a Goodwill outlet should be, and then they turned it into, they like set up the bins and took pictures of it, and it was not good. But you can't do anything about it besides just move on, you know. And at some point, you just got to be like, I'll find something else.
Yeah, I definitely believe that with reselling, although like we all have our frustrations and stresses about other people, I do believe that there's so much to go around that, like, again, you know, trust me, I rant about Goodwill prices and stuff all the time, you know, so I'm probably at the top of the list for complainers when it comes to certain things. But like, I mean, at the end of the day, I always remember, like, there is always plenty to go around. Like, they're always bringing out new stuff. You know, every thrift store, sometimes it's just like the right time, the right place, you know, which is, you know, basically going to the next, let me get back up here to a post, because it's going to go back to a post that I want to talk about. Right time, right place is, look at that face with the Pokemon cards, 2,000 likes on that. So cool. I think it was on this side. Let's see. Well, we can talk about the Toy Story shirt too. That one's insane. $550. There's another shirt I want to talk about. I'm sure you know which one it is. We'll talk about that shirt, but I got to find it here. Where is it? Okay, so we'll talk about this shirt in just a second. The Super Monkey is got to be one of my favorite posts from you, but where'd it go? Okay. This one right here. So I remember this one too. So this was a Facebook Marketplace pickup.
Yeah.
And I remember
I didn't pick that up. I'd have that mailed to me. That's why it was stressful.
Right. You're right. But I mean, like a Facebook Marketplace pickup, like you got it on Facebook. And so I think, if I'm not mistaken, so you can tell the story here, but when you had found this was the first time you had ever bought something or sent money to someone for something like blind on Facebook Marketplace, because you couldn't physically go get it, right?
I bought stuff before, but I paid, I think, $550 for all this. And I was like, well, here it goes. When I first found her post, she had posted, I think it was Sapphire in the box and like one other. And I bought it, I placed the order, but then she canceled it, and I was like, no, and it was like $30. So I was beside myself. And then she posted like a bunch of strategy guides and then split them up into these like weird posts. And I was like, I want all of them. Just give me a price, please. And she was talking to a bunch of other people, and it's just how marketplace is. Like you have to be there when they hit post, or you're not getting it. Like it's just how it is.
Facts.
Somehow I was like, this is the price, right? I will send it to you now. Please pack it well. And I was just convinced for like the whole time it was in transit that I was going to get nothing, or it was going to be beat up or something, but they were there and it was great. That was a really wild pickup just because I had to put blind faith in someone else, because all my other things, I'm there, like item in hand, here's the money. But this was too stressful.
Yeah, that's kind of like when you really know you're a reseller, when you're willing to risk $550 blind on something after your order got canceled. Like that happened to me once, but it was on Marketplace, but it was a local pickup. This lady had a GameCube with, I'm talking like Grail games, and she didn't know what she had. There was like 30 games. She had the whole thing posted for $150, and I was already on my way home from another Marketplace pickup. And I kid you not, Mike, I was a mile away from her house, her address. And I messaged her and I said, I'm literally right next door. I can come pick it up. Within seconds, she's messaging me going, I'm getting so many messages. Someone just offered me 700. Someone just offered me 1,500. Someone just offered me 2,000. I'm like, I mean, we're talking Fire Emblem, Mario Party 5, 6, 7, everything complete in box. Zelda, Wind Waker,
all the ones you want are there.
Yeah, Double Dash, Mario Kart, all of it. And so I'm like, listen, I'm literally a mile away. I have the cash. I'm not a scammer. And she's like, but this person's offering me $2,000. I'm like, I'm telling you, most of those people are scammers. There are collectors out there that they might be willing to pay for it. But I'm telling you, I offered her 500, and I was like, I'll come with 500 right now. I'm a mile away, and she wouldn't let me pick it up. I was so sad. Yeah. So anyway, so this was one of the finds I remember you finding. Like, for those of you guys who don't know, the Pokemon games, Game Boy Advance games, very, very rare, especially hard to find in the boxes. You still have most of these, or?
No, I only have Heart Gold, but I have the sealed Soul Silver here too.
The Soul Silver was. That one was sealed, and you weren't expecting that when you opened the box. Correct?
I didn't know it. It was wild.
So yeah, I remember that too, because I think you made a separate post about it where you were like laying on the ground with it or something.
Yep. Commitment.
I don't know where it is, but
it is up farther. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were right here. Yeah, you're like, you can't believe you didn't even know it was sealed, and so
I walked up to this yard sale and I was just like, do you guys have any games? Because just what I do. And they were like, I think we might have like a box of some. I was like, could you bring them out? She was like, all right. So it's this big box. And like, if you click on the next picture, I think I have.
Okay, hold on. Let me get over to it. So there's the jersey. The jersey's crazy too. We almost have to talk about that too.
Click on the one with me in the grass.
Okay. Oh, the next picture from the post. Yeah. Okay.
So those boxes below, go back to the other one. Yeah. So most of those were empty, which was a heartbreaker. Like I was going through and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And then I found the mystery dungeon, which was sealed as well. And there were like a bunch of other games in there that weren't really worth the time. But I was like, what do you want just for this whole box? Like there were cords in there. There was like a bunch of nonsense. And they were like, I don't know, like $25. I was like, oh my God. Okay. Right.
Wow.
Okay. And without knowing that there was a sealed Soul Silver in there, it was still one of my best finds ever. Like it just was nuts. And then I was at another yard sale and I just decided, for whatever reason, I was like, I'll just check to like make sure that game's in there. I'll have to post that to my highlights too, because I was honestly about to cry because I was like, oh my God, this is sealed. And it was just such a shock to open it up and see the plaques. And I was like, wait.
That's so cool. See, what's crazy is I've never had any like insane garage sale video game come ups. Like I feel like in Florida to have that, like you either got to get just really lucky, like we were talking about, right time, right place, or you got to be at a garage sale at 5 a.m. with a tent, you know, in their driveway. So
that whole year was nuts though. Like the very next week I found Path of Radiance.
Yeah, that's the GameCube game up there.
Yeah.
And then you had this. Just tell us about this real quick. This at the time, which I think to date, still, if I'm correct, is your biggest sale ever. One individual item.
Nice one. So yeah, it was my anniversary. 2 years. Well, when is this from? This is
June 2021.
2021. Okay, so at the end of May is our anniversary. So last year, I walked into one of the worst Goodwills on the face of the earth. Like terrible. Never have anything. And I just walk up to a rack. And I get to the end, and there's this jersey. And I was like, oh, cool. Like a Bullets jersey. That's awesome. I don't see those ever.
Right.
And then I see that it's signed. And I was like, I hope this is real. Because you never know. Like, you never
want
it. And I had no idea what I had at the time. Like, I knew it was good. I knew it was a vintage jersey. I knew if it was signed, it would be worth more. But I had no clue to the extent. So I got home. I was like doing research on it. So George Mirasan, I don't know if that's how you say his name, but he's one of, if not the tallest NBA players of all time. So it adds to the mythos of it or whatever. I don't know. But it was signed by him. It was also player issued, which means it was made specifically for him to wear in a game.
Wow.
So he could have worn it. It could have been at like a signing event where he like gave something away, or a charity auction, whatever. It was made for him. He signed it, and it was at a Goodwill for like $9. It was. And when I listed it, like I got so many messages and so many offers, and I was like, I should price this higher. And after I sold it, it went to France or somewhere international. But the person that bought it is on Instagram and posted this, and then someone saw it and shared it to me, and I was like, this is so wild that I can see where it went. And this page that sells signed, game worn, authentic jerseys is like, look at this. I think I could have gotten $1,500 for it, honestly. But I'm, $1,000.
Yeah, I mean that's a great anniversary present right there.
Yeah, it was nuts. That was the same day that I found the Kingdom Hearts 2, actually.
Yeah, you've had some pretty crazy finds, man. Pretty crazy stuff.
So yeah, same day. The first stop we made, walked in to a thrift store that was having a half off everything sale. There was a media cart out. This was on the bottom. It's a sealed first print Kingdom Hearts, which is like really hard to find because Kingdom Hearts has been printed into oblivion. Like, it's a really popular game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. But it's one of the first ones made. And it was sealed. And at the time I was like, this is really cool. And then I started looking into it, and I was like, oh, this is worth a lot. Because people were messaging me when I shared it, and I didn't know what I had. And they were like, what do you want for it? And I was like, I don't know yet. But then I saw one sold for like, I think it was like $1,000. And I was like, what? So I was like, I'm going to have to wait. I did get it graded. They graded an 8.5, which isn't great. Like 9.8 is like the highest I've seen, but it's still sealed.
It's sick.
It's one of the only sealed ones that I have seen. Like, I think I've only seen one or two for sale on eBay in the past year.
You brought up something that I want to talk about for just a second, and we'll go back to Instagram because you have a couple other things I gotta bring up because I love the stories behind some of this stuff. And you have a great page, by the way, for sharing a variety of sales, pickups, and everything in between. So I love that. But one thing that always surprises me as a reseller myself, when you find something cool and you post it on your story, how many other resellers DM you how much, like they think you're going to sell it to them so that they can flip it. Like, No disrespect. Like, I guess I respect the hustle,
I don't.
but I'm obviously in this business to sell this for a profit.
Yeah.
Now, I hate the fact that people lie, because people are always like, yo, bro. When I was at the Rag House, for example, I found a lot of vintage, and everybody's like, yo, bro, I need that piece for the personal, and it's like, how many people say they need that for their personal collection, and then they just want to put it on their IG live or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do with it after you pay me what I'm asking. But if you come on my Instagram and you say, yo, how much for that, I don't know, Yankees jacket or whatever, and then I either say two things. I say, make me an offer, and then they say, oh, I don't want to make you an offer, or I say $50, and then they don't even respond. They ghost you. They don't say no, thank you. They say thanks anyway. They don't say too much, nothing. They just ghost you. And it's like, where do people think that's actually, this is where I'm starting to get controversial, so I don't want to get too deep into it, but where do people think that they're actually going to get away with this garbage when they think like, listen, I'm actually doing this for a living. Why do you think that I am not going to look up an eBay comp of this 3D emblem Harley Davidson shirt that is selling for $600, and you think I'm going to sell it to you for 40? Like, get out of here.
I had one of the things I pulled from my aunt's house was that Johns Hopkins champion reverse weave.
From reverse weave, yeah.
And I had someone in my messages, and they were like, I buy reverse weaves all day for like $50 or something. And I was like, okay, go buy one for $50. And then I sold it for $250. Like I actually posted it in like a Facebook group, and I was like, if you like sell vintage, give me your opinion on this. And some dude said like, I sell vintage, you're looking at like $60. I was like, I don't believe you. Like, I can't, based on the things that I see and what I'm researching, I just don't think that you understand what this is. And it's just wild, because someone can say that they know what they have, but it turns out they don't. And it does go into the whole, like, take what you see with a grain of salt from a lot of people, and just do your due diligence, because you never know who's trying to fleece you a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I have my fair share of DMing people. Like, for those of you who know, I love vintage Disney stuff. I collect Tower of Terror t-shirts, all these shirts right here. Like, this is I can't even do the backwards pointing. This is my like video game collection of what Mike has behind him. This is mine, Tower of Terror shirts. That's what I collect. And so when I see someone post one on Instagram, or they put it on their story or something, I usually say like, yo, how much are you asking? Because I'm always collecting. There's different color varieties for the same graphic and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like I always have the respect to the person to say like, okay, too much for me, but thanks for letting me know. Like, because I'm naturally cheap by nature. Like, I'm not going to buy a jungle. That's why I entered your raffle for the booster pack. Like, I'm not going to pay $400 for a booster pack, but if I can win one for $10, I'll take a chance.
Absolutely right.
So like most of the shirts, people are like, oh, well, and people think because I collect the Tower of Terror shirts, they think that I'm going to pay top price for it. It's like, well, if I pay top price, I'll just go on eBay and get it.
There we go.
And it's like, I don't necessarily need it, but I'd love to add it to my collection. I'm not asking for no reseller, celebrity, influencer discount, but I'm not looking to pay top price. If you found it at a thrift store for $3 and you want $150, I'm not going to give you $150. But if you want $60 or $75 for it, I'd be happy to give you $60 for it, and you're making a good profit. But that's my offer. But then if they say no, thank you, then I'm like, all right, well, thanks for your time, and I move on.
Whatever.
And that's all you can do. But it was it's just crazy. Like, I don't know why I got on that rant, but it's just how you were talking about the people messaging you like how much and blah 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 blah. And so it's just funny how people do that to me all the time for stuff. And then I'll say like, I'm literally in the thrift store. I haven't looked up eBay comps yet, because I feel like I'm a very honest person on my Instagram. Like, I don't have any need to scam anybody or overcharge anybody. I just say, I'm literally in the thrift store. I just found it, a post on my story. I haven't looked up comps yet. If you want to make me an offer, please do. And then they say, all right, well, if you come up with a price, let me know. And then I message them and say, yeah, I take $60 for this. And then they don't respond. I'm like, well, I told you to make me an offer. Maybe I would have taken 40 before I looked up comps and saw it was $100 item. So, all right, there's a couple other ones. This was from your aunt, correct?
The sweatshirt you were just talking about?
You can't see it. Sorry. There we go.
Yeah.
So this was in the consignment deal from the same aunt you got the cranberry Sprite from?
Yep. So like, yeah, that's what Cosmic Deal Heather said. All this stuff was from her house. So funny thing about this one is it got returned. But I sold it again, so it still counts. It was the third time that it got purchased. The first 2 times were the same reason. My young child, like, relative purchased this. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I think it sold finally for like $275, so it's a little off. I never took it down just because like it was fun to like post about it.
Yeah, it's a killer sale either way. But okay, so it's funny about the kid thing because I don't get that. Like I can't imagine how in real world, in real life, some 7-year-old kid is getting on their mommy's computer, typing in SpongeBob tent, and then buying it and going through with the payment. And then you buy it and then you say, my kid bought this, please cancel. Like, I'm trying to understand like the true nature of like, if that was a legitimate answer and how often that could truly happen.
I've seen some stuff, man.
I can't fathom that being a legitimate excuse to just say like, sorry, I meant to watch this item and I accidentally clicked purchase, or something. But anyway, very cool sale there. Vintage SpongeBob stuff is getting popular. Even though it's 2003, I would still consider it vintage at this point. So for what it is, there's the cranberry Sprite when we were talking about earlier, $325 sitting in my aunt's garage. Absolutely crazy. So let's talk about the Super Monkey shirt real quick, because we haven't talked about a clothing piece yet. And this is, I think, one of my favorite stories from you, because I just remember it going crazy on Instagram. So, oh gosh, I pulled it off.
I know you're pulling it up or not. So yeah, this popped up on Marketplace. This lady just had like men's shirts, $5. And I messaged her immediately and I was like, I can come now. Like, please hold it for me. Like she was in the city. So it would take me like 25, 30 minutes to get there. I've always wanted to find a Cartoon Network like vintage shirt. And I was so pumped. So I told her I was going to come, and then apparently she was getting messages from someone else and got us confused and like told me that it was already sold, but she meant to tell the other guy. And I was like devastated. Like, I was already getting my kids in the car because I had my kids that day. And then she was like, it's sold. Sorry. And I was like, so I got inside. I was just like, sat on the sofa. And then she called me, like, she called me from like Facebook Marketplace. I was like, what is happening? Who is this? And she was like, hello, were you interested in the shirt? I was like, yeah, you said it was sold. She was like, which one are you? I was like, I'm Mike. Like, yeah. She's like, oh, I'm holding it for you. I was like, what? So I like got in the car, got down there, and I was like, thank you so much.
And you sold this on Instagram, correct?
It's funny because I got an offer on Depop from someone, but their Depop name was the same handle as their Instagram, and I was like, we can do it through Instagram for this much instead because I save on fees. And he was like, yeah, sure. So it worked out really well for everyone.
Do you want to say how much you sold it for, or do you want to keep that a secret?
Oh, I thought we did. I can't remember, honestly.
Was it like over 500?
No, I think it was, I want to say like 275.
Okay. So still a crazy sale. So Facebook flip here. And I want to be respectful of your time. It's literally about to turn 10 o'clock. So I don't know. 10:30. Okay, cool. Yeah. So if you guys are in the chat and you're enjoying this conversation, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button for me, and let me know that you're here. There's 55 people in the live right now. And if you guys have any questions for Mike, you want to know anything about him or his reselling business, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll try to answer some questions as well. Brainstorm Rodeo was talking about the Bibli show, so you can tell us about that, because I remember when you were doing that with was it Charm City? Charm City.
So yeah, we just got the idea to just like throw up some stuff that we were gonna list for a cheaper price, just because we like had enough people asking like how much for this, how much for that. So like, let's just do a live and just like keep it going for like as long as we can. I had done the like Saturday yard sale recaps like earlier in the year. That was really fun. I did that for like a couple months and enjoyed that. And then we did the Bibly show for a little bit, and I don't think I think I made one sale, but it was still fun to do. Like we got to talk about like the stuff we found. Joe lives like 20 minutes from me. He and I are very paralleled as well. Like we both have kids, both our wives work in schools. Like it's really funny the way that like our lives have matched up.
That's cool. And Bibly stands for buy it before I list it.
Yeah, that shows creation. All credit to him. He comes up with a bunch of very good sayings, and I appreciate his creativity with the ridiculousness of it all.
All right, so I want to do one more Instagram post that was whoops, wrong one. Hold on, I'm bad at this. Here we go. I want to do one more Instagram because I just I love stuff on your page.
Thank you.
And then we can I want to ask you a couple other questions before you go, but one post that is relatively recent there. Oh, there it is right there. You posted the Super Monkey for $350 sold.
Okay, yeah.
All right, now I got to find it. I got to scroll up a little bit. Guys, again, Mike has some really great information and bolos and stuff on his stuff that he's picked up, found at garage sales, video games, comics, vintage clothing, all sorts of stuff.
Everything under the sun.
So where is it? Gosh, it's relatively recent, but
I can help you find it.
It's the that like not the dumbbell, but the weight thing. There it is. There it is. The kettlebell.
Love this.
Tell me about this kettlebell, man.
I love this one so it's up there with one of my favorite finds. So I was out like Saturday morning real early, went down to like the boonies. If you know Maryland, it was in Middle River. So, and it was like down by the water. And it was just a really unassuming yard sale too. So I got out and it was just like this older couple still setting up. And I was like, do you mind if I come look? And I didn't see anything. And I saw this like weird looking thing. I was like, I know exactly what that is. Exactly what that is. I don't know its value, but I'm sure that it's worth something. So I was like, what do you want for this weight? And his wife was like, you can just take it. And I was like, she was like, I hate it. I want it out of my house. And the guy was like, $2. I was like, all right. And I didn't know until I got in the car, and I looked it up and saw that like a bigger one had sold for like over $1,000. And I was like, oh, we got something real good on our hands. During COVID, during the like boom of the like all the weights and all the like workout stuff was going like nuts. Someone on a Facebook group posted about the on it kettlebells, and he like shared a Star Wars set, and they were selling for like $550 each, something like upwards of like 1,500 for like the big Darth Vader one or whatever. And for whatever reason, it just in my brain, like, you need to remember this. Can't remember, a lot of stuff, but for whatever reason, I was like, this thing I need to remember. And I was just like awestruck that this was just hanging out 15 minutes down the road from me at someone's yard sale, and it sold quick too.
You listed it for $700.
Yeah, no best offer.
That's crazy.
The guy that bought it, there was a sold for a bigger one that said like reserved for that person, and I was like, I really hope he's going for a full set, because there's like 4 or 5 of them, and they're hard to come by. They were a limited edition or whatever, only made for a certain amount of time, and I guess that guy really wants them all.
So guys in the chat, let me know if there's anybody that's typing and you're not working or whatever. Let me know if you would have walked past this or if you would have picked it up, because like I'm thinking to myself as I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, I feel like because it's so unique, I would have grabbed it. But then at the same time, I'm like, this is probably not worth anything. Like, because I'm not the type of person to just drive by a garage sale. Like, you know, those people that like drive real slow and look out their window. I'm like, how can you drive by and think you know what all is there? I always stop, you know, but I feel like if I would have seen this, like, I'm trying to think legitimately, I probably would have like picked it up and looked at it. I might have tried to Google Lens it when nobody was looking, but for the most part, I probably would have been like, I don't know, because like I know that some weights can sell, but I would have never in my entire life, I would have been like, oh, maybe this is like a $20 or $30 kettlebell that some CrossFitter, you know, would want or something like that. But I would never be like, this is a collectible. So, you know, it's interesting how that side of reselling works, because like my brain would have just justified like either Google Lens it, and if nothing comes up, like it's not worth it. And, you know, or if it was $2, I'm like, maybe I would have taken a chance on it and just picked it up for $2. But if they wanted like 10, I probably would have been like, yeah, I'm just going to pass.
Yeah. And it's just that, like I said it before, but like opportunity down every aisle in like a thrift, but opportunities everywhere. Like,
yeah,
it could be any given yard sale. Like, you don't know if you're going to find wrong hand, Pokemon booster box, or, you know, a bunch of kids clothes. Like it literally, who knows what people have in their house.
yeah, absolutely. That anybody who drives past a garage sale thinks they see what they got, and then they drive by. I mean, okay, the only time I think that can be justified is non-resellers that are like driving through garage sales, like looking for a couch. And it's like, okay, there's legit no couch on their driveway for sale, so I'm going to keep going because I'm looking for a couch. I guess I can understand that.
To be fair, if I drive by a yard sale and it's like young parents with all baby stuff out, probably not going to stop.
So the garage sale that had the Pokemon cards, when you asked, because they weren't set out, was it like a fairly, because I don't remember if you said or not, but you didn't buy anything else that day. You just bought the Pokemon cards, right?
I bought other stuff from like other yard sales.
But not that one specifically. Like
just that was the only thing I bought from there.
Yeah. So was that like a yard sale that had like a lot of stuff? Or, I mean, it may not be, you may not be able to remember, but like,
oh, I remember everything about that day.
You know, like when you walk up, you're like, oh, this is pretty interesting. They got a variety of stuff. Or you're like, yeah, this isn't really good. I'm just going to ask if they got Pokemon cards and dip.
That's what it is. If it looks like really unassuming, but I feel that like the person is at the right age for it. Like if it's like a 30-something-year-old or 40-something-year-old, I'd be like, do you have any games of Pokemon cards? If it's like a middle-aged parent, be like, do you have any of your kids' toys or games or whatever? And just kind of like feeling the room. Like I'm not going to ask, you know, like a bunch of elderly people with like Christmas tchotchkes if they have like GameCube games.
See, I feel like I haven't hit yet, right. But those are the sales where like I ask and I'm like, I see an elderly couple selling Christmas tchotchkes and I'm like, you guys by any chance have any old like concert t-shirts or band t-shirts you don't wear anymore? Because I'm like, one of these days that old man's gonna walk out with a pile of Grateful Dead shirts or something, and I'm just waiting for the day, you know. But you know, as a matter of fact, I saw Aerosmith in 1978, you know, or something. But
yeah, it's the golden rule. Just always ask. Like, just,
I mean, the worst they can say is no. You know, I love that, and I think that's great because, you know, you'd never know. You would have gotten those jungle Pokemon cards if you didn't just say like, "Hey, you got any Pokemon cards?" You know, and sure enough, because you asked, you received. So, all right, we got about 20 minutes left before Mike has to go. Like I said, if you have any questions for Mike in the chat, put them down below. I got tons of stuff we could talk about. So, but if you guys have anything you want to know about him, let me know. So let's ask a couple questions. The first one I want to ask about is, which we don't have to get too deep into, is going back to the Bibli show. Basically was like live selling format. So what are your thoughts and opinions on Whatnot? Like, have you opened the app? Have you downloaded it? Do you want to try it? Do you think it's dumb?
I think it's dumb. I'm sorry. I do not.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
I did open the app and try a couple lives. I can't stand the format, like any of it. Back when lives on Instagram were really big, like during COVID, when like 1980 something co was doing the flea every week.
Yeah.
There's so many people in there. Like I assume that's what Whatnot wants to like capture. And I know people that have done like Whatnot shows, and like they say they sell a lot, but it's just not for the amount that it would sell for on like eBay or anything. And
Sure.
it's the choice of, do you want a slow sell or a fast sell for a low price or a high price? And
Right.
it's just up to your personal opinion. It's not for me. I don't I don't have the time
As a seller specifically,
as a seller or a buyer. I don't like to sit through, a bunch of stuff hoping that like something catches my eye. But it's also, like you said, like I'm kind of cheap in that way too, where the thrift might provide, and maybe I'll just find it for a couple bucks.
right.
But I have a very limited amount of time, and I don't really want to use it waiting to see if I will find something that I like. But at the same time, it's great that people come out and support other resellers. So it's very complicated, because I get it. Like, if you're making money, I know people that are making great money on it, and that's awesome. And I also know that a lot of people get good inventory from like bins for super cheap, and they don't care like what it sells for.
Right.
That's not me. Like, everything here is expensive. I can't really, be on a live for, I don't know. How long are your lives usually?
It depends on how much stuff I'm selling. But like, I'm going live on Sunday doing an all Disney live. So like, this whole rack behind me right here is all vintage Disney stuff. And I'm actually like part of a Disney on a weekend event or whatever. But I'm not being paid by Whatnot or anything like that. It's kind of just like a group thing that they're trying to get a lot of Disney sellers in. Anyway, my time slot is 2 hours. So like, I'm live for 2 hours, and the amount of time, if I would have found this at the thrift or the flea market, or even wholesale purchased it from other Instagram sellers and stuff, the amount of time it would have taken me to list and photograph all this stuff on eBay versus and Depop, because I cross list, is it for this kind of stuff. I think Whatnot outweighs the eBay side for this kind of stuff, because most of it is like vintage, but it's like basic. It's not like holy grail Disney t-shirts, like rare Tower of Terror shirts or Space Mountain shirts. It's like vintage Disney stuff. Like, there are cool ones. Like, this one is a good one that I'm going to be selling. It's like the vintage Disney, like you got the Mickeys and the tie-dye on a good old tag, like stuff like that. But then you have, like other stuff, which it's like, let me just find, like, there are some cool ones in here, but then there's like basic stuff where it's like just Mickey on a shirt, and I'm expecting this to sell for like $5, So I think that it's kind of like you have to be strategical with it. But I can say this, and I don't know if you feel this way or how other people feel, because I've seen a lot of people talk and just say like, you've got to be an influencer, you got to have an audience to sell on Whatnot. And the truth is, it's not true, because like from my experience, I sell every week on Whatnot now. I try to do like one live a week. And a lot of the buyers, like when you look at shipping labels or you look at the account names, they're not converting from Instagram to Whatnot, just like Instagram doesn't convert to YouTube. When I post to Instagram and say, hey, go watch my new YouTube video, I don't get views from my Instagram followers over to YouTube. It's just the weird social media aspect doesn't convert, other than you have your like devout people. Like, I probably have a good like 10 to 20 people. They buy my Profit Monster shirt. If I put out a shirt, they buy a sticker to support me. They would watch my YouTube video. They're just very supportive people. They really enjoy what I put out. But for the most part, those people aren't going in my lives and paying eBay prices for Disney shirts. They'll buy one for $5 or $6 or $7.
That's true.
But a lot of the people that I'm selling to on Whatnot are random people that are just on Whatnot, you know, mindlessly scrolling through live streams until something pops up that they like. And like last week, my live, some lady bought $384 worth of shirts from my Whatnot stream. And she bought one shirt and then she stuck around and she's like, yo, you're a cool guy. I like your vibe. You've got some really great stuff. And next thing you know, she bought like 17 pieces from me on my Whatnot. She's never heard of me before. She doesn't follow me on YouTube. She's never checked out my Instagram before. And she's just like, you know, I was just having a good time selling stuff. And then she was just like, you've got great pieces. I don't know if she was a reseller or not, but she spent 300 something bucks. So I'm like, you know, I try to use those examples to tell the type of people who think that you have to be in. I go influencer because I don't consider myself an influencer, you know, but I do like to put out content, but you don't have to. Like there are tons of people who don't make content and make good money on Whatnot. But for me, it's more like, it's just fun to go live and sell stuff and see people like bidding. And the instant sale is nice, especially like if you're having a slow day on eBay or a slow week, you can put 20 items on Whatnot and make a couple $100 pretty quick, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I do have like some stuff that I'd be like, this would probably be good for a Whatnot, but it's one of those things where I know I would never commit to doing it. Whether it's ADHD or whether it's just, I can't make myself do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It does take time. I will say that, like, you can't, excuse me. You can't go live one time and be like, yeah, I'm going to make $1,000 on my first live. Like you get the first live is usually like, it's just like your first YouTube video. It's always going to be the worst one. It's always going to be, you know, you make a YouTube video. You're always going to look back on it and be like, that was so cringy, you know, whatever. But then you stick it out and you keep doing it over time. It gets better. Then you gain new followers, and the followers on Whatnot don't convert back to Instagram either. Cause I'll say, hey, if you want to see more, go follow me on Instagram at Profit Monsters. And after every Whatnot live, I'm lucky if I gain one follower. And I usually have, Whatnot gives you the analytics of like how many people join your live and stuff like that. I usually have anywhere from 50 to 70 people watching a Whatnot stream. And I don't gain 50 to 70 new followers every time I do Whatnot. But anyway, so Brainstorm has a question. I think you kind of answered it a little earlier, but you can harp on it real quick. And then I have like a 2-part question, and we'll probably be pretty close to the end of your time here. So why no YouTube?
Yeah. So why I don't do anything else like besides Instagram is just, I just don't have the time or conviction or really the interest to do it, just because like I know how hard people work on Whatnot, on YouTube. Like I know how much work goes into it, because like I know people that do it, and it's a lot. I don't think I would be adding any value per se based on what I think I'd be able to create, and the return just wouldn't like be worth it to me. I enjoy the freedom of this job, and I think that trying to add on too much would make me burn out really quick.
I agree 100%. That going back to, we had that conversation a little earlier in the chat, and just for me, like I've gotten to the point where I do it when I want and when I've got extra time, and that's really all there is to it. And it's like I have fun like making content, but I hate editing.
Yeah.
Like I like the community aspect of putting out stuff to help people, to share my journey, my adventures, but other than that, it's not really monetarily beneficial for me for my time. I could do a Whatnot stream and make $1,000 in the same amount of time I recorded, filmed, edited, and produced a video that makes me 26 cents, you know, but I'm luckily at this point, I don't do YouTube for the money. I do it just because when I feel inspired is when I make a video. So back to the reselling side. I know you had just recently posted, I don't know if it was yesterday or even today, you had said something like sales were slow on eBay. Thank God for cross-posting. And you had made some really good sales on Mercari. So let's just talk about listing for a couple minutes. Do you list every day? How many do you list per day? And then you obviously cross-list. So what platforms do you cross list on, and which ones have you found works best for you, and which ones have you tried that you don't like, et cetera, et cetera?
Yep. So I do list every day. I just, well, like probably last year I switched to, instead of just trying to like list like a certain amount each night, I pick like one day of the week to do drafts, and then I have a draft bank and then send a certain amount live each night. And that has helped me so much. Like I think more than anything else, that has helped me so much. So I will pick, right now my schedule is, I do all my photos Monday, I do all my drafts Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday I'm free to thrift or do whatever. Saturday's yard sales, but they're about to end, and then Sunday is usually just like free, like family time, no work really. It is a really good system that works for me, and it has for the past, I guess, a year, or like however long I've been doing it. It just makes it feel like I have more time to do things. I am currently sending 5 live a night, and I know that there's a bunch of people that, you know, list more, and I do feel like if you are listing more, it helps you. I also relist like 20 a night usually. So I am on like eBay doing something pretty much every night. And to be consistent on eBay, I feel like you need to be on the platform, like listing new items, relisting, doing something to feed the beast.
Right.
I cross list to Mercari and Depop. I was on Poshmark for a while, and I'm thinking about just like cross-listing things there again, because it's changed a lot since I stopped in like 2019, because I used to like try and share my closet every day. That was not working, but now it seems like it's changed a lot. I also have Bonanza set up, which is completely hands-off. It's free to sign up. It takes all of your like eBay listings that are a lot of Bonanza, copies them over, and then if you sell something, it delists it from eBay. If you delist something from eBay, it delists it from Bonanza. I don't make a ton of sales. Like I think I've sold like 10 things this year, but it's really nice when something sells.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I love Mercari so much. Like it's my favorite platform. I love it. It's so easy. It is streamlined. The shipping, the like return window is 3 days. It is, if I could make the same amount of money on eBay that I make on Mercari, I would do it in a heartbeat. I love Mercari. Like if you're not listing on Mercari, please do it, because it is so worth it. For like whatever reason, it's not the same amount of money. I don't know why, but it's so simple. eBay, like we all see, has all those, you know, item specifics that they change every couple months, and it is just a killer. And Mercari,
I love the simplicity of Mercari. Back about I would say like 8 to 10 months ago, when I really decided like I wanted to switch my business to like selling a lot of shoes. And the main reason for that is just because of the abundance that I can get them in. And, you know, Orlando area, I can get shoes better than I can get anything else. I was selling shoes on Mercari, but I wasn't selling as many as I was on Poshmark. So to do eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari for shoes, I basically was like, well, I got to narrow it. I'm going to narrow it down to 2. And Mercari is great for video games. Like anytime I find video games, I cross list them to Mercari. And honestly, most of the time they sell faster there than they do on eBay. But it's so rare for me to find video games here, because like I would love to like invite you to come down here and hang out for a day or a weekend or something and go garage selling with me, because they're throughout the year because of the weather here, but they're so far and few between to find garage sales. Like I went to a community garage sale last weekend. That was from one of my most recent posts. I found like 2 pairs of boots, a pair of Brooks shoes, some a North Face jacket, and that Adidas jacket. And like, I mean, the whole community garage sale, there was like 8 sales, and there was one sale. This is where I wish I was recording for YouTube, because there was one sale I walked up to and I thought I hit the mother load. This lady had vintage Disney shirts hanging up. She had the bomber jacket. Like it's like a $250 bomber jacket. And I'm like, my heart is beating, because I'm like, vintage Disney, you've got to be kidding me. Like, this is it. This is it. And so I walk up and she's got freaking written out eBay priced, $300 on eBay, $200 at this garage sale. She was selling it was like a vintage Disney. It was like a Wicked Queen shirt from Snow White. I think it was the Wicked Queen. And she had it at her garage sale for $200. And I'm like, I was so sad. Like my heart sank, and I didn't find anything else at that community garage sale, but it's like, I'm trying to find stuff, and maybe I missed a kettlebell, but there's so few garage sales for this community sale. It's almost like people in Florida, everybody that moves from up north to Florida sells all their good stuff before they move down here. And then when they have sales here, it's like you said, baby clothes and, toys. And it's like, telling you, man, it's so hard to find garage sales here that it's, I don't know, maybe it's Orlando. Maybe it's not all of Florida. I haven't really tried traveling for garage sales, but I'm telling you, man, Central Florida's tough. I mean, I find good stuff from here to there, but there's also a lot of garage sailors, like you said, that go to your thrift stores, like it's flooded. There's a lot of garage sailors here too.
They get up early.
So, Lori, Mama with a Camera, wants to know why a walrus on Instagram.
So there was this post during COVID, and they took the pictures from the Busy World of Richard Scarry, and they changed the line underneath of the picture to something like to do with COVID. And the walrus one was, I think it says like trying to sell things online, and it was just so funny to me because that's me. I'm just holding up this piece of trash. I'm like, you want to buy this?
All right.
And it just fit.
Thank you, Suze, along the way, for being here. Have a good night. DC Hunter said he likes to sell shoes on Mercari and Poshmark. That's cool. Tina, how are you? Thanks so much for hitting the like button. So I guess we'll just finish off. It's 10:26. Man, I really appreciate your time. I enjoyed this conversation. I feel like we got to do a part 2 because I didn't even get to like half the stuff I wrote down that I wanted to talk to you about because I just really enjoying the conversation. So if you guys got any Baltimore Raven stuff, hit him up on Instagram and send it to him for free just to say thank you for being here. Get his address, and if he wants to give out his address, I guess, and ship out some Raven stuff to him. But let's tell us some stuff you like to do in your downtime when you're not reselling or being a dad. We didn't even really talk about like dad life and all that, which was something I really wanted to talk about.
Yeah. I really like. I've always loved to play video games, and it's something that like my son does now, and it is something that I get to relax to. But I get to do it less just because of how the schedule is. But I've also been going back to the gym more, which is really nice because I haven't been able to like go to the gym since college, and I've been going like 4 days a week, and it's really, really good.
You've got a pretty impressive leg press there.
Thank you.
I saw your post, your story. You were like pushing like 560 pounds or something. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, man, I gotta like watch my knees though, because I had knee surgery when I was 26. So last thing I want is to tear another meniscus.
I'm a skip leg day kind of guy, so
day.
I'm a skip every day. I really need to start exercising. So all right, couple last questions then about downtime. So let's do like a little mini game here. I'm gonna give you a video, and then we'll end the night with this.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a video game console, and you tell me like top 1 or 2 favorite video games from that console, and we'll see what you got. So let's start old school. Let's go Sega Genesis.
Oh man, there was a Power Rangers game that I played at my best friend in elementary school's house. I don't know what it was, but it was like a side scroller. So much fun. Oh, I love that.
Like
thing.
Streets of Rage style.
Yeah,
Power
Rangers. It was amazing.
Okay, cool. All right. Let's go Sega Dreamcast.
Never played it.
Never played Dreamcast, really?
No.
So the only game that I remember for Dreamcast is because my brother used to be a massive gamer. Like growing up, his whole room was video games everywhere. And he used to have this one game. It's for GameCube too, Phantasy Star Online.
Oh yeah.
We played Phantasy Star Online. I'm telling you, I have never and Disgaea. I actually bought Disgaea from you.
You did. That's hilarious.
Those 2 games, I have never put more. Well, other than RuneScape, I'll say RuneScape for the computer. I don't think I've ever put more man hours. Well, now that I'm thinking about games, Pokemon Red, I put a lot of hours into. Pokemon Silver, I put a lot of hours into. But I would say old school, that game, I never logged so many hours on a game with my brother than that game. It was a great game. So, all right, let's go GameCube. Paper Mario.
Thousand Year Door. It's one of my favorite games of all time. The GameCube is absolutely my favorite platform. It's endless games. But yeah, Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door is so good.
So would that be for N64 too? Then would you go Paper Mario?
It's really hard because N64 also Banjo-Kazooie for N64.
Banjo-Kazooie, really?
Top all time. I played every year. Like it's so good.
Nice. Okay. What about like PlayStation? Any PlayStation?
Kingdom Hearts. Like obviously right there. I love it. Final Fantasy X was my first Final Fantasy game, and
that's a good one.
Yeah, I for every console I had, I always got like the action replay cheat code things and would just start like multiple files. But my God, I must have put in like 100+ hours to Final Fantasy X on multiple saves. It was just so good. And it just like, I don't know, it was so beautiful at the time too. Like I'd never seen anything before. It just blew my mind, these cinematics.
Yeah, PlayStation's pretty crazy for me because like I had a PlayStation 1, but growing up, I was never like given video game consoles for Hanukkah. You know, I was Jewish, you know, and so we celebrated Hanukkah and everything, and like I was never got a brand new N64 from Toys R Us or nothing like that. But like my brother would buy consoles, and then like he'd get the PlayStation 2, so I'd go out and find like a PlayStation 1, you know, and like have all like the games like Need for Speed and stuff like that. But Final Fantasies, man, those things, that's a lot of man hours for real. Disgaea for PlayStation 2, one of my all-time favorites for that. And then Xbox, if we moved up to Xbox, I mean, it would be Halo 2 for me. So,
I played a lot of Halo 2 back in like middle school and high school. And we also did a ton of Guitar Hero and Rock Band too. Like it was just what we did after school. We went to my friend's basement and we literally sat there until my mom was like, "Where are you?"
That's so funny because in high school, like my friends and I used to have Friday night LAN parties, and we'd always rotate houses. And my house was my friends would like show up with their mom's vans and like bring TVs, and we'd bring Ethernet cords and everything. We'd put a TV and Ethernet cords in every room. We'd do Halo 2. We do Dance Dance Revolution on the PlayStation 2. We do DDR, and then we do Guitar Hero and Rock Band. And those three games every Friday night, and that's what we would do. And it's crazy that you say that, because like I've never really met somebody outside of my group of friends that like that was their like group of friends thing to do. And I love that because
dude, Guitar Hero 2 was our life for like probably 2 years. Like that's like we burnt the CDs with all the Guitar Hero 2 songs on them and just played them in the car. Like we were just like, we just need to play all the time.
Yeah. Iconic, man. Iconic. Well, man, I could talk about all this stuff for hours. So we will we'll have to sometime plan a part 2 if you're down for it. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everybody in the chat. I think we popped out almost at one point. We were a little over 60 people in the live. If you guys are watching this back on the replay, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And if you're not following Mike on Instagram, like I said, go follow him on Instagram. One word, Dumpster Night. And any last thoughts or anything you wanna say to the people?
I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you guys for being cool and asking questions and just caring about what I have to say. I always think it's just very, very wild that I've found a job that I like and people care about it. It's just really awesome to me.
There's no other job like this for sure. There's really no other job like it. And well, definitely with part 2, we'll definitely talk about more of like parent life and balancing life and how you thrift and manage the kids and stuff like that. Cause that was a big thing I want to talk about, but I felt like that would have been like the whole topic by itself. So
right, exactly.
I don't know. So anyway, man, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you guys in the chat for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And hopefully, like I said, we'll see it, see a part 2 here sometime, or figure out something to maybe we'll do an Instagram live and talk sometime too. That would be fun, and see how the audience is, commingle there too, like from my YouTube and our Instagrams. So anyway, guys, have a great night. Thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate all the support you guys give me on the channel and on Instagram as well. So don't forget, if you want to support, Sunday night I am going live on Whatnot, all Disney stuff, from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can check me out there. That's my next stream. So love all you guys. Thank you so much. See ya.